Febreze, the household cleaner.
Yes.
How do you spell that?
R.
Febreze.
I'm sorry. I've had a mudslide. Cat.
And we're back. Cat. Oh yeah, my cat's walking downstairs. Hi everyone.
She knew. She's
Yeah,
about to assume the position.
Miley's coming to join us for Conspiracy Happy Hour.
Yes, welcome back, everyone.
If you hear some jingling, it's her bell on her collar. She's about to jump up onto the microphone. Hi, Miley.
That's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Come here. Yeah.
Meow.
I hear you talking to us. Anyways, I'm like sitting over here talking to my cat. If you were listening to this episode, we have just finished recording our first guest episode.
Yes, it was very exciting.
So
very strong alcoholic
Dan and
beverage
I
was
are already a
served.
little happy. We had some strong ass alcoholic drinks that we made for our guest, and still feeling the aftermath. Is that the right word to use?
Yeah,
there?
or
Okay.
just the effects.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's keep it simple. So, anyways,
It was very strong, but it was
really good. It was really good. We did, well, you'll hear it in that episode, but we made our own twist on a classic. So if you want the recipe, you can sign up for our Patreon and we will be posting photos and the recipe. So
Yes.
it'll be fun. Dan,
Allison.
before we start, I need to ask you if you are caught up yet on The Circle.
I haven't watched this season, unfortunately.
Okay, for anybody
But I do
listening-
know the twist.
Well, yes. So for anybody listening, The Circle is not only one of my favorite shows, Dan, it's one of your favorite shows, right?
It is.
On Netflix.
It was the show that got us through the first year of the pandemic.
Yeah. So we're on season 4 of The Circle.
Which I can't believe already.
And I'm almost positive the last 3 episodes came out last week.
And then
and
it's done. The season's
and
over?
the season's
okay,
over.
now I can binge it.
And I haven't watched it yet. But I really need to know what happens next. But it's a good season.
Okay.
Like, it's a really good season. There's a lot of twists and turns, but you need to watch it so we can
I
talk
do.
about this next
I usually do.
episode.
The first and the second season I watched as they were released. The last one I kind of just waited for it all to come out and I binged it. And then I was doing the same for this one.
Well, they always stop you at the cliffhangers,
Yeah.
like when you're like, oh my God, what happens next? And then you have to wait another week for it to come out because that's a show that if I could, I would binge, but I can't wait for all of them to come out the way you do. It's such a good show.
It is good.
And then I usually end up following like everybody who's on the season. I follow if you've
Yeah,
been
I
on The
still-
Circle, you're on my social media.
I follow all their Instagrams. At least the first season. The first season was the best, but
Yeah.
well, the second season was good
I don't
too.
know. I think all of them have been good so far. Like, I like season 3 too. Season 4 is definitely not the same as season 1 in the fact that they're, I guess, would you call it a cast?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cast is definitely different. I feel like season 1 reminded me of Jersey Shore cast, whereas I feel like season 4 is definitely more inclusive for everyone.
Okay.
So, but regardless, the show is great.
Yeah, I need to catch up with it.
Yeah, you do, because I need to talk to you about it. We need to have conversations.
I've been watching all my 30-minute sitcoms instead.
Which ones?
I really like Home Economics. It's like a more modern family.
What station did that come out on?
I
Because
don't.
that was on TV, right?
Yeah, it's on TV. I watch everything on Hulu.
Me
I
too.
don't have actual cable, but
Was it like NBC? Not NBC.
it was probably
it was-
NBC because most NBC shows are on there.
or ABC.
I think it is NBC, but it follows 3 siblings. One's super rich, one is a struggling writer, and the other one's like a social worker.
Okay,
So it's like their struggles, but it's funny.
they all have different types of struggles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I say it's like a more modern family because it's like one guy's like he's just like the super rich person. The other guy, he's a struggling writer with his family. And he has like 8 kids. He doesn't really, but he has like 3. And the other one's like this lesbian couple, interracial lesbian couple, and they're so funny.
I'll have to check that one out.
It's really good. It's probably one of my favorites. I also like Mr. Mayor, which is just funny.
I've been binging 911 Lone Star.
Is that good? I like the regular one.
I love the regular one. The more that I watch the Lone Star version, the more like getting into it. Like this season that I'm on, I think it's the most recent season. I have been addicted to it. So many things happen and I really like it. So, but their backstories are always like so good, like on point.
Yeah, I really liked 911 a lot. I was surprised.
I do think I like the regular version, like was it New York?
It's just 911.
Yeah, 911, but it's in New York. I think I like that version.
Is it?
Yeah, I thought so. Or is it California?
I think it's California.
I don't know.
I don't know now.
Athena is my favorite character.
She's
She's like the cop of the show.
Yeah, I like
Buck.
I really liked what's her face from the first season, and then she left.
Oh,
Carrie
the
Brighton.
redhead.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
Jennifer Love Hewitt took her place.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like her in the show. I'm sorry.
I don't either.
Okay.
I liked Carrie. What's her face?
She was.
I don't remember her real name.
But I think she was in season 3 too. She had a couple episodes in season 3. I know who you're talking about though.
Yes.
Yeah. That's another good one that I really like. I'm really into.
What else have I been watching?
I'm lame. I don't watch a whole lot of shows.
I do. I watch a lot of TV. I was watching Home Economics, Mr. Mayor. I kind of gave up on the Goldbergs. I don't care anymore.
It
needs
kind of
to
sometimes
end.
they get on a little too long and then you just lose interest.
It's one of the shows that I think they're holding out because like their stick is like it's 1980 something, and it's about to hit I think maybe like season 10, so they might maybe
1990 and then
and I don't know. It needs to end. I don't know if they're waiting to hit the decade, but I think that's really it. What I've been watching lately.
I don't know. Some shows I can get like I've seen, for instance, Golden Girls like 20,000 times, and I'll never get sick of it. But sometimes shows do have to end.
Oh, I do have to watch the new season of Russian Doll. I haven't watched that yet.
I didn't see it. I've heard it was really good, but I couldn't get into the first episode or two.
The first season, it does take a couple episodes to get into it, but the first season was so good.
I'll have to try
and
again.
This one, the second season, is different. Instead of, because like the first season, she's stuck in this loop like Groundhog's Day. She's constantly reliving her death.
Which makes sense for the Russian dolls. It's like stacking. Okay.
The second season is different in the sense of there's time travel involved.
Interesting.
Yes.
So it kind of lines up with our conspiracy
A little.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great season. It came back recently. I haven't started it yet, but it's so good.
Well, I'll have to check that one out. But
Me too.
bringing it back to conspiracy.
Yes. Hit me with that fact. You missed my hand motions I just made.
Little hand motions going on. He was like, hit me with. Okay. Anyway, so this one I don't think I have heard of, and I'm looking at the photo that goes with it now, and it's freaking me out. Febreze, the household cleaner.
Yes.
How do you spell that? Febreze.
I'm sorry. I've had a mudslide. Freebrez.
Febreze, not fur.
Fra. Oh.
Fur. Febreze.
I don't know that. Apparently, I don't know.
No. I thought this whole time Febreze.
Uh-huh.
It is Febreze. 1 E.
And an E at the end?
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Like, I'll have to show you this image, but hold on. Just take a look at this for a second.
None of this makes sense. I would have picked this one with the 2 E's.
Me too.
I hate this. Really? It has 1 E? That's not right. I blame Kern. They opened. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments.
It doesn't. Well, no, those comments I think are based on like all of the conspiracies.
Okay.
That photo looks so wrong to me. I never remember a bottle of Febreze look. Hold on a second. I have Febreze here somewhere. Hold on.
Bring out the.
Now I need to know.
Bring out the evidence. I'll narrate. Allison walked into the other room, grabbed a bottle, screamed.
Sounds like you're. No, it's spelled Febreze.
I don't even think if you would have said there was an E at the end, I would have believed you.
No, I do remember the E, but I swear it was a double E.
Febreze.
I just sprayed some above me. It smells great.
I know. You make me sneeze.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's flowers. No, honeyberry hula. I gotta love a good Febreze.
I don't do too well with trying to blow it away. Get away.
Yeah. But that one is insane to me, especially when you look at the pictures. Like, I specifically remember that picture, that one picture.
Me too,
And
with the
not,
2 E's.
That is not how you spell it. With the window. It's got the
Yes,
little
with the
window
window.
above it. Yeah.
Did they change it? I feel like they're playing mind games with this.
I don't know. We're stuck in a parallel universe or something. I don't know. But Dan,
Allison.
should we rock, paper, scissors this?
I think so.
All right, let's get ready.
Ready.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ha. Wait.
2 out of 3. You've gone first like every time. 2 out of 3.
How do I win every time? I had scissors.
We're
here.
going again.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Both rock. Rock. Both scissors.
Now we're playing mind games.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Both
Both
rock. Boom.
Okay.
Okay,
So he
one
got
more time.
Rock, cover. I had scissors.
Well,
he did
1,
rock.
1.
Get
Okay.
ready. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Paper covers rock.
I quit this podcast. It's rigged.
I win again.
This is rigged.
Maybe I have like the mind control.
I think so. I think there's some conspiracy happening here.
I'll go first. I think yours is going to be longer than mine anyway this time, so
Okay.
we'll finish up on yours. So
Sounds good. I can taste the Febreze.
mine is an older conspiracy. I used 3 No, I used 4 sources. I used a
18
couple
sources.
sources. I might have just 1, 2, 3. I used 5 sources. So I used keith.sees.harvard.education/chemtrails conspiracy theory. It's a long one.
So this is about chemtrails.
There we go. I used theweek.co.uk. There was a Buds YouTube video that I watched called The Chemtrail Conspiracy Theory Explained. And then I also used Ellie.com.
Ellie has some good stuff sometimes. I've used it before.
So I think it's more, so I don't really know, but I think it's more like a celebrity.
It's like a tabloid.
Yes, yes. So I use that for, if you can just only guess at the bottom, some of the celebrities that
Yes.
subscribe to this theory.
Like Shaq.
Shh. So let's start this theory. What is a contrail? So a contrail is the more scientific name for this cloud. So a contrail is a condensation trail or a vapor trail. They're usually line-shaped clouds that are produced by aircraft engines or from the changing in air pressure. Contrails are composed primarily of water in the form of ice crystals. And the combination of water vapor or aircraft engine exhaust and the low ambient temperatures that exist at high altitudes allows for the formation of these trails. Now, here is our chemtrail conspiracy. Some contrails are just contrails, while others are chemicals, released into the air by the government for nefarious purposes undisclosed to the general public. This is the conspiracy.
Okay. That's the one I've heard of. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Or like control the weather or something like.
Yes. So proponents characterize chemtrails as streams that persist for hours that form a crisscross grid-like or parallel striped patterns, eventually blending together to form large clouds. People believe that this is a secret program to add toxic chemicals to the atmosphere from aircrafts in ways of contrails. Various different motivations for the alleged spraying are speculated under sterilization, reduction of life expectancy, mind control, or weather control. So, how this whole theory started in general. Chemtrails conspiracy theories began circulating after the United States Air Force published a 1996 report about weather modification called Weather as a Force Multiplier. So, we'll jump forward a little bit. In 2008, this report came a bit more real during the Beijing Olympics. The Chinese government, quote, seeded clouds in other parts of the country so that rain would not affect the ceremony.
Okay.
So, based on that statement alone,
That's not how clouds work.
this could be a real possibility because weather control is obviously already a real thing. They were able to create clouds in the atmosphere so that it rained other places and was able to produce a clear sky that day in Beijing over their opening ceremonies, which is freaky to me.
Yeah, there's manufactured clouds, but like the thing about clouds is like rain happens because there's an accumulation and then it falls. Like,
yes,
it gets too heavy and it falls. Like if you're,
but I mean, in this case, obviously,
do they suck up the cloud? They're like,
already people obviously know how to control the weather.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at this point, is it really a conspiracy that we're discussing, or is it something that's a real thing? Like, were contrails or chemtrails were they created? So, things like this could happen.
I definitely think, for this theory, before you delve into it, I believe the weather control portion, like.
I think eventually that's where our world is going to go.
We can see the cloud to help induce rain over crops or something. I believe that 100%. Do I think this cloud's going to control my mind? Maybe, because I am very depressed on cloudy days.
I mean, but I think that's just something that comes with the weather too.
Oh yeah, the weather controls my mood.
Yeah.
The way the weather has control over my mood is very concerning.
I mean, if you think too, like, I mean, the Farmer's Almanac, they were able to like produce these results.
Well, the Farmer's Almanac is older than like technology.
Exactly. And they were able to like not judge, but they were able to predict what the weather would be like years and years in advance on a specific day.
I know.
So anyway, food for thought.
But they didn't have chemtrails.
They did not, because they're relatively new,
according
to this theory. So following the report in the late 1900s, the USAF, United States Air Force.
United States as fuck.
That's totally what I would have called.
I know. If you didn't say Air Force after that, I was like, what?
United States as fuck.
United States AF.
We political people. No. They were accused of spraying the United States population with a mysterious substance from aircrafts generating universal contrail patterns. The theory became more popular after a late-night radio show discussed the theory. Theories were then posted in a bunch of internet forums of the time, and that's just how it gained its traction. Many agencies at that point then began attempting to dispel the rumors. So there was the Environmental Protection Agency, the Federal Aviation Administration, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. All tried to come up with, I guess, documents stating this is why this is happening. It has nothing to do with chemicals released into the atmosphere, all of that. Many just saw this as an excuse and even more of a government cover-up. Additionally, the USAF, United States Air Force, Dan, stated that the chemtrail hoax has been investigated and refuted by many established and accredited universities, scientific organizations, and major media publications. So let's dig into what people consider proof of this theory.
Clouds.
Yeah. So believers in this conspiracy say that while normal contrails dissipate relatively quickly, chemtrails linger and contain additional substances. They linger a bit longer, usually hours. Other theories of the chemical release may be solar radiation management, weather modification, psychological manipulation, human population control, biological or chemical warfare, or testing of biological or chemical agents on a population, and that the trails cause respiratory illness and other health problems. Photographs can be seen. They're on the internet. I saw them.
I saw them.
Photographs of barrels installed in passenger area of aircrafts for flight test purposes have been claimed to show aerosol dispersion systems. The real purpose of the barrels was to simulate weight of the passengers, and based on, I guess, as they're flying, based on the accuracy, they'll disperse a little bit of the water that's in these barrels to simulate the about weight of what an aircraft would be carrying, and this is just for testing purposes to make sure the airplane is flying correctly before they're actually putting human lives into it.
Yes,
but
I've seen that done before with other things too.
Yeah. So since the barrels are filled with water, and water can be pumped from the barrels to or can be pumped from barrel to barrel in order to test, differentiate, center. I don't know why I'm swirling my arm in the air like this right now, but I am.
You're flying a plane.
Anyway. The barrels are filled with water, and the water can be pumped from barrel to barrel in order to test different centers of gravity while the aircraft is in flight. Common claim is that the emissions from a standard plane should dissipate quickly, so any clouds do not disappear immediately and must be filled with additional undisclosed substances. So that's another well, if this is happening, why?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's really funny because I have done some research and I found out some celebrities that also subscribe to this theory. And I found it really funny that out of all of them, Shaquille O'Neal, which also I believe subscribed to the flat earth theory.
He was a member.
I feel like Shaquille could be our follower.
Yeah, he's a fan.
We talk about stuff.
Fan of the show.
I wonder how many I want to say earthly conspiracies, like the flat earth, the one that we discussed on previous podcasts with our guest. This one, I wonder how many atmospheric. It seems like he's got the earthly universe mentality of believing those conspiracies. So that's just my 2 cents. But also Kylie Jenner believes, I think she wrote an article not that long ago for one of the magazines, or I don't know. I didn't look into it too much. I don't know if she wrote the article or if somebody quoted her, but the article is not extremely well written.
So
There's a lot of...
She might have written it.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of punctuation, grammar mistakes. There's a lot of spelling mistakes in it. She obviously didn't have an editor.
Yeah.
So Kylie Jenner, Jaden Smith, which is Will Smith's son?
Child.
Which one?
Son.
Okay, I'm right. Okay. And then also Prince believes this theory. He said that after the chemtrails started appearing, everybody at that once they became a thing and chemtrails started appearing, people started fighting more, which there's a lot of reasons why people fight on this earth, to be honest, and I don't think it has to do with chemtrails. I think it's just political based, race based, people not getting what they want based. I don't really think it has to do with the chemtrail, but whatever. Hayden Panettiere, which I haven't heard her name come up in a long time, but I remember she was the little girl in Remember the Titans and stuff. So she
was Save the Cheerleader, Save the World.
What was the show?
Heroes.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember that. And she was also Nashville. Remember she was on the Nashville. I never saw that show though.
Me either.
Yeah, and then like I said, Shaquille O'Neal. So, do I believe? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it past our government to be trying to control us with chemicals that they are producing from the atmosphere. Now, I don't think it has anything to do with mind control. I don't know how a chemical that they're dispersing from an airplane is going to control people's minds, especially when there's no connection between this chemical and the people who want in their minds. They're teaching, our government is teaching the youth anyway. If they really wanted to mind control, all they have to do is just say, hey, this is what you should believe. This is the correct answer. And boom, mind control. Now, could it have to do with controlling the population? Possibly. I think that would probably be the most convincing argument for this. Do I necessarily believe it? I think this is what I'm on the fence about. I don't know. What do you?
Like I said, I think some aspects of it, yes. Like the weather control. The mind control, not so much. Mind
control, no. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't disagree that the chemical that the government wants to control us in more ways than one.
Well, of course. Why not?
That's what I got, though.
Okay.
I had a really short one this time.
That was nice. It was short and sweet.
Yeah. I figured, look, I'm not good with big words. So I'm like, there was some like long explanations and like research done by certain theorists about.
And that's one that you could pick up again and expand upon.
Yeah, there was like, I didn't feel like going into like each theorist and quote what they said. And there's definitely more that I could have done on it, but I wanted to keep it basic. I wanted to cover the theory. I wanted to cover what people thought about it.
It was good. I thought it was good.
But I think you have it extremely long.
I do. I mean, it's not that. It's long. It's because I wrote 14 pages, but...
Damn it. All right, so I'm very curious.
Okay, so my theory. Do I read you the sources first, or do I not?
I feel like you should.
Okay. I don't really think they give them away.
Okay.
So I only have 2 for this one. The first one is from causes.benevity.org.
Okay.
And the second one is an article from Bob Smitana, and it was written on NashvilleScene.com.
Nashville scene?
Yes.
So I'm assuming this takes place in Nashville.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
still doesn't give anything away.
Nothing. This is our first cult.
I'm excited about that.
Yes. This is our first cult, and it involves something that is near and dear to both of our hearts, cats.
I don't think I've ever heard about this cult before.
Yeah. So that is the main focal point of this cult is cats, and I'll delve into it.
Interesting. Like, I'm already on the fence. Like, I'm like, ooh, should I subscribe to this cult?
I know.
But like, I have no idea the backstory.
Am I already signed up? Did my cat sign me up and I didn't know? Okay, so this is the story about the cult Ava's Eden is what it's called.
Okay.
So I'll just get right into it. So Ava's Eden is a nonprofit. It exists. And it is a cat rescue and sanctuary. And so this was their mission statement. Their website doesn't exist anymore. So I got their mission.
Was it like blocked or taken down?
Taken down.
Okay, shit.
Like I went on the website. Like I found when I was doing my research, it said like whatever, avaseden.org. I clicked on it. Page doesn't exist anymore.
That's funny.
So I found their mission and vision and all that other businessy stuff on a different site. The one I mentioned, the causes.benevity.org.
Mm-hmm.
Ava's Eden is a cage-free cat rescue and sanctuary in Middle Tennessee, providing love, hope, and support to the most overlooked members of our society, the homeless cat.
Mm-hmm.
Working through a network of loving foster homes, our cats receive one-on-one attention, care, and support to heal them to their physical maladies and emotional traumas with patience and love. Each home specializes in a different type of care, from feral socialization and kitten socialization to more complicated medical support. We also act as a sanctuary for elderly, sick, and disabled kitties who are not strong enough emotionally or physically to find a permanent home.
And this is their whole mission statement still.
Yes, this is their whole mission statement still. Those who meet the public in our beautiful and unique mobile adoption unit, a kitty shelter on wheels that visits areas in our community to bring the love of the felines to our friends and neighbors. We are Ava's Eden, bringing love to the world one cat at a time. That's their mission statement. That's really long.
It's a long mission statement.
Yes. So a little more about them. Their vision is to bring animals to a place of honor in our society, thereby changing the world one animal at a time. They want to take in unwanted, lost, feral, or ill-treated animals, they keep saying animals, but it's just cats. Provide shelter.
They're trying to be inclusive.
Yeah, provide shelter and veterinary care, find secure and loving homes, and increase the public's education and awareness of our responsibility to honor and cherish animals. They are a cage-free animal refuge and rescue center designed as a place of safety where animals are nurtured to physical health, rehabilitated, socialized, and if appropriate, placed for adoption in new homes. They believe that stewardship of the earth and oneness with creation underlies our interconnectedness and is an expression of our love and appreciation of life. Unfortunately, cats in modern society are treated as expendable. This has not been true, however, in most ancient cultures where cats were revered and treated with great respect for their mystical quality. We adhere to this more ancient viewpoint and bring that into consideration with the endemic population crisis.
It's like sad already.
Well, that was their like, that's in their like business mission. And then like it sounds all nice. It's like, oh, we're a cat refuge. We rehabilitate cats. We socialize cats, and then it's like, unfortunately, cats have been disrespected.
We're not going to be those people.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a little weird, but okay. So that is a little bit. That's the basic organizational structure of Eva's Eden.
You said this is out of Nashville, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
This just goes more into like animals are cared for through their network, blah, blah, blah. They foster in different homes. Animals come to Eva's Eden principally through collaboration with other animal shelters and rescue operations for which provide a relief value when they are overcrowded and overwhelmed, blah, blah, blah. More animal
Sad
shelter
stories.
stuff. Yeah. So that's what they posted to the world. Like, this is what we are. We're Eva's Eden. We're a cat refugee.
The positive spin on it.
Yes. And it was all essentially to recruit people into their cult.
So what are they trying to recruit? Like, quote, volunteers or whatever? Or like people to foster?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll get into it. Wasn't posted on their website was that this is actually an end times cat cult. So
End of the world?
Yes.
Okay.
Like a doomsday cult that revolved around cats. So it all started with the Reverend Cheryl Ruthven and a few dozen followers. They left Washington State 3 years ago. Well, not ago, but like before this took place, hoping to find a place where they could live in peace and quietly wait out the apocalypse. Along the way, they hoped to rescue as many cats as possible. Those cats, according to Ruthven's writings and interviews with former followers, are divine creatures that will carry the 144,000 souls mentioned in the Book of Revelations. But the group's unorthodox beliefs and controversial history followed it all the way across the country. In public, Ruthven's followers, who run a non-profit shelter known as Eva's Eden, described themselves as a peaceful group devoted to Mother Nature and living in harmony. They foster dozens of kittens in their homes and host cat adoption events in their air-conditioned mobile cat playground. And there was a picture posted of that. It looks just like what you would see at like the Camden County adoption shelter. Like they have like those.
Just at a normal shelter. There's nothing spectacular about it.
It's a trailer. It's an enclosed trailer that has the cages in it for people to come visit. Blah blah blah. Air conditioned. Blah blah blah. So their calling has always been to help ease suffering, and we are Eva's Eden, bringing love to the world one cat at a time.
It sounds too like I feel like I could hear Carol Baskin saying this stuff.
It reminded me a lot about this when I was reading it. But a group of former followers says Ruthven's ministry is a cult of personality devoted to its prophet, who they say claims to be a divine Magdalene, a reincarnated Messiah figure who will create a new Eden after the apocalypse. Those former followers say they once worshipped Ruthven, following her every command, even leaving their families for her sake. They now run a Facebook page aimed at exposing what they call an abusive cult.
I'm curious to know, like, obviously it's not the rescue or the sanctuary themselves who call themselves a cult, but like, at what point were people like looking at this stuff and be like, this is no longer a cat sanctuary. This is a cult.
Well, it sounds like, I'll get into it.
Okay.
But it sounds like it becomes obvious very fast. Eva's Eden denies these claims, of course. They say former members are a hate group founded by Ruthven's ex-husband, aimed at slandering their ministry.
This is totally a Carol Baskin story.
I know.
The fuck?
It has a lot of parallels. The nonprofit has responded to critics by denouncing them online, trading letters with legal threats, and then posting cute cat videos on YouTube. I mean, that would fool me. Okay, but one August, Eva's Eden disappeared. 2 days after a reporter requested an interview with Ruthven and the other leaders, Eva's Eden's website was down. Its Facebook group and YouTube accounts vanished, and the group canceled all planned public cat donations at a Kroger grocery store.
So they just disappeared off the face of the earth one day.
Yep. This person named Nicole Walker was Ruthven's daughter and manager of Eva's Edens, also filed a criminal complaint with the Maury County Sheriff's Office against Rachel Gunderson, one of the group's critics, accusing her of harassment. It's the latest chapter in a complicated mashup of spiritual experimentation, charismatic leadership, and a cute cat video, which I thought was funny. This is kind of more of the backstory of how it all started. Michelle Lamphere first met Ruthven in late 1990s at Gates of Paradise, a small Pentecostal church that once met on the second floor of a former Sons of Norway Hall in Bellingham, Washington. Lamphere was a new mom at the time and had just started going back to church. Ruthven, then known as Cheryl Walker, was one of the first people she met. She was a tall, blonde, rich, and had an almost irresistible magnetism to her. She goes on to say that everyone idolized her. Every woman wanted to be her best friend. Ruthven also had a gift of prophecy, apparently. Mm-hmm. According to Lamphere and other former followers, she seemed to be able to know exactly what people were going through. When she spoke, she'd go into kind of a trance, as if God's voice spoke through her. According to recordings of her prophecies made by followers, people would arrive early at church just in case Ruthven might have a word for them from God.
So the one who started the cat sanctuary, people were beginning to think she had like a higher power.
Yeah.
Like,
people were beginning to think that she had a direct line to God.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm. In the early 2000s, there was a church split. Most of the congregation followed Ruthven to start a new church known as Freedom Fire Ministries. Mary Gunderson, a former Assemblies of God children's pastor and aspiring worship leader, heard about the church while shopping at a Walmart. Gunderson saw a business card for the ministry on a bulletin board and decided to check it out. Then she goes on to say that the first time she heard her speak, she was hooked. So apparently it keeps, which is the same thing about all cults. They're incredibly charismatic.
She's like preaching and people believe it.
And their cult leaders, they're all charismatic. She and Ruthven became inseparable after that point. Gunderson says she would spend every free hour she could with her new pastor. She soon became convinced that Ruthven wasn't just an ordinary pastor, but instead she was a prophet. And if Gunderson stuck with her, then her salvation would be secure. You know?
That's creepy to me, just that fact alone, because like obviously if people are thinking all these things about her, why doesn't she set them straight? Why is she like, yeah, I am a prophet, like believe what I say?
I don't know. I don't know how anyone honestly can really like idolize someone that much.
No.
I don't. Like, I don't think there's any person.
Obviously, she idolizes herself that much, though,
well,
because she's not steering people straight. She's like literally continuously lying to them, saying, yep, I am that great.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's always a touch of narcissism in there. Before long, Gunderson's younger sister, Rachel, had joined as well. Like her sister, Rachel Gunderson had grown up in the Assemblies of God, but had grown disenchanted with her home church. She felt distant from God and was looking for a spiritual connection. And then Rachel, it goes on to say that she found it at the new church, the Freedom Fires. It felt like a waterfall when I walked into Cheryl's church. I felt alive again, is what Rachel said. Just being in Ruthven's presence was like a spiritual high, according to Rachel. A smile, a touch, or a kind word made them feel like they were experiencing God's love firsthand. They came to believe that their salvation depended on being under Ruthven's spiritual oversight or covering, quote unquote. Rachel said that following Cheryl gave her what it felt like she's been missing her entire life. It was like I finally arrived at who and what I was supposed to be by following her teachings and learning to be like her, which is never a good sign. As time went on, Ruthven's former followers learned the downside of following a prophet. Ruthven claimed to have direct contact with God and to be speaking God's word. No one was allowed to disagree with her. Anyone who disobeyed was banished. You know,
this is crazy.
Standard cult stuff.
Because this is literally starting out as a cat sanctuary, and now she's like the leader of the cat world.
She knew how to put the fear of God in us, said one of the, was a quote from one of the people. Among those banished from the group was followers, then teenage daughter, Shaylin. Shaylin had often been in trouble with Ruthven and refused to follow her instructions. When she was caught drinking at 16, Shaylin was grounded at first. Then Ruthven told her parents to get rid of her.
What? Like, get rid of her as in, like, kill her?
Well, or I don't know, get rid of her. So they took Shaylin into the backyard, joined hands in a circle with her brother, and casted her out of the family. So they banished her.
Fuck.
We give the devil this is a quote. We give the devil permission to overtake her and bring her to his side. She is no longer covered with our covering. Shaylin recalls her parents saying in an account of her experience posted on Facebook, "She is on her own and you may now take her. My own parents did this to me. They gave away my soul." It's crazy.
I'm like over here wide-eyed.
I know. It was a decision that shamed Michelle Lamphere to this day. At the time, she says she would have done almost anything that Ruthven commanded. Today, she cannot believe how she treated her own daughter. So thankfully, she came out of it.
Yeah.
But, damage is damage.
Well, I feel like that's how all cults are, too. It's like, I mean, once you disobey, you're cut off from the family. And, like, you can move on, but, like, you are moving on with the fact knowing that your family has disowned you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't come back from that.
No.
Along with following Ruthven's directions, her former followers also say they had to change their beliefs to conform with her prophecies. At first, the changes were small. The church stopped celebrating Christmas and Easter and instead focused on the Jewish holidays. By 2005, they changed their name to Moriah Ministries.
Ryan, R-Y-A-N?
No, Moriah.
Moriah, okay.
Yeah. Moriah Ministries. After the mountain where Abraham was told to sacrifice his son in the book of Genesis. Soon, beliefs from other faiths and spiritual traditions were added. Worship services were opened with Tai Chi and Buddhist meditations. After that came teachings about chakras and healing crystals, Tibetan singing bowls, ancient Egyptian gods like Arius and Isis, the Greek goddess Athena, and a host of New Age-like practices. So it seemed like she was all over the place.
She didn't have one religion that she was sticking with.
No, she was all over the place. Eventually, the group renamed itself again to the Oneness Foundation and settled into a renovated former Masonic Hall in Blaine, Washington, about a half hour from where they originated.
That's another one we're going to touch on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Masonic stuff popping up.
Well, they just rented a building, but
still, they rented it to the cult.
I know. PowerPoint slides of Ruthven's sermon notes from around the same period show that group's eclectic mix of beliefs. There are notes about the effects of a powerful karmic moon, reference to Yom Kippur, and warnings about Judgment Day. The group's worship song also reflected their mix of beliefs. They ranged from familiar church hymns like "Great is Thy Faithfulness" to songs of praise to Ruthven, who by this time claimed to be the reincarnated Mary Magdalene. This is one of the songs about the cult leader. Athena spread her wings and lift her staff. She opens up the door and says, "Come in. I recognize you. You are Magdalene. You have the power to recreate Eden. So come in, Magdalene. So come in, Magdalene."
And these are the words.
These are the words. Ruthven's followers also bowed down to her during worship. Once she claimed to be a Messiah figure, they say they also drank communion juice tinged with her blood. So this is what I say. Like, it's starting to become obvious.
There's no getting around it at this point. Like, you can't even. Oh, well, she meant. Well, no.
No. Ruthven would prick her finger and drip the blood into the communion cup,
Ew.
which was filled with grape juice. Then they would all drink from it.
Oh my God.
I know. Rachel Gunderson says being in the ministry was like being trapped in an abusive relationship. She knew things were bad, but didn't know how to leave. She also feared losing her soul.
Because of what she's been told.
Yeah, exactly. Ruthven was a prophet, and doubting her was like doubting God. This kind of fluid theology and devotion to a charismatic leader can be common in new religious groups, said Ben Zeller, who is an assistant professor of religion at Lake Forest College, just north of Chicago. Group members are often more tied to the leader than to their theology in regards to cults. If you are invested in the person rather than the theology of the group, that helps explains why, if the founder claims she is Mary Magdalene, people just don't leave. They are invested in her.
I want to say drives me crazy, but I don't think that's the right word.
It's just insane.
Fascinates me that people actually believe this stuff. Like, somebody can tell them that. And why? Why do you believe it?
Mm-hmm.
What is like the one thing that set you so you believe every word coming out of this woman's mouth?
I know. There's also a social side. Many new religious groups become close-knit, almost like family. Those ties are hard to abandon. People stay in church all the time, even if they disagree with the preacher. He goes on to say, I don't think cults or new religions are different in that way. There are plenty of people who are along for the ride. It's just that it's amazing what people do when they are along for the ride. If it means giving up their money or control over their lives or their finances, their romantic relationships, or in suicidal groups, their lives. Few new religious groups turn out to be dangerous, he says. And while their beliefs may seem odd to outsiders, they often make sense to those inside the group. After all, he said, even traditional beliefs like the story of the burning bush or the virgin birth, they seem odd to outsiders.
I mean, that's fair.
That's true. He's like, he goes on to say, we just can't dismiss them as crazy. They are no weirder than us. Which when I read this the first time, I was like, it's true.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say, starting a nonprofit charity is also common for new religious groups. New religions often use businesses or charities for outreach. Some honestly believe they are doing good charitable work. Others are just seeking converts. Often it is both. Okay. So this is when I'll go into more about the cats.
Okay.
For Ruthven, the cat rescue business was both spiritual and personally motivated. She taught her followers to become vegans as part of their focus on being one with Mother Nature. They also began to volunteer at local animal shelters as part of their religious practice. Ruthven's cat, Ava, died, leaving her distraught. She saw the cat's death as a sign she should start her own cat rescue.
So we're back at the beginning at this point, right? Because she's starting her own cat rescue.
Yes, this is the part where the cat rescue comes in. The cat died on the winter solstice. Ruthven wrote this in describing the founding of Ava's Eden. Death had come. Now I need to embrace life. How does one explain such a love to a world that sees animals only as animals? As I have studied and taught my people that of Egyptian alchemy, I grew in reverence for their beliefs of honoring the felines as vessels that are able to guide us through our passageway of life. The Egyptians really did. They worshipped cats. They were like seen as guardians of the underworld.
Yeah, I do remember because they have them on the hieroglyphics and stuff like that.
For Ruthven's followers, this new ministry meant fostering cats and kittens by the dozen. It's too many cats.
So when we're talking about like crazy cat people,
they are crazy cat people. At one point, Lamphere had more than 40 cats in her home. So did Gunderson. In the foster homes, the cats would eat first, even before the kids. We had to revere them more than ourselves and our family, said Rachel. And if the cats weren't treated with proper reverence, Ruthven would berate her followers. Eva's Eden is not a social gathering hour, she wrote in a January 2013 email. This is Ruthven. It is the temple of God. You are to enter with the reverence of what is sealed within its foundation and walls and within every single feline. You are to enter with awe. You are to see each customer in there with discernment. Are they a chosen? This is her referring to the cat sanctuary.
People who want to adopt the
Yes.
cats, they're not just, you need to treat them well because they're the ones who are going to be possibly coming in.
Like, you don't need to just go there, fill out an application, give your money. You need to do that and then be a chosen one to receive these cats. Caring for the cats accomplished 2 goals. Ruthven's followers were building up good karma by doing good deeds, and they were also preparing for the apocalypse. Ruthven taught them that cats were supernatural beings in disguise, carrying the 144,000 souls mentioned in the New Testament book of Revelations. Those beings would come to the rescue of Ruthven's followers during the apocalypse. As long as you take good care of them, then in your time of need, they will transform and take good care of you, is what she would tell her followers. At first, Ava's Eden met with public approval, seen by many as just another cute cat shelter. Gunderson and other members put together cat videos to promote their work. Ruthven's daughter-in-law, Nicole Walker, the shelter manager, gave interviews about the shelter, but left out its spiritual underpinning, of course, Come get all these cats, but, we're not a cult.
If you have to say that in your, statements, you're a cult.
The only sign of their religious beliefs was the Eva's Aiden logo, which featured the outline of an Egyptian cat goddess, Bastet. Inside the group, however, there was turmoil. Ruthven had feuded for years with her ex-husband, Mark Walker, a Washington developer. She accused him of abuse and had him arrested. The charges were dropped, but the 2 divorced. Mark would later remarry, and he and his second wife, Mary, began to meet with family members who'd been estranged from Ruthven's followers. Other group members also clashed with Ruthven and were asked to leave. Rachel Gunderson began to date a man from Tennessee without Ruthven's approval. While they talked on the phone, she mentioned she was working on a video for Ruthven about Eva's Aiden. In Ruthven's eye, that was unforgivable betrayal, having told her followers to keep her prophecies secret. So she banished her from the group. Mary Gunderson moved out of the house she shared with Rachel and cut off all ties with her sister. So around this time, Ruthven was planning what she called her exodus to Tennessee.
So this is going to be one of those situations where everybody kills himself. Where they were planning on it.
Well...
Sorry, I might be jumping ahead. I'll let you go.
Might be jumping ahead. But around this time, Ruthven was planning what she called her exodus to Tennessee. The move was prompt, in part, by growing conflicts with her critics. She also told followers that the end was drawing near. She wanted them to move to Tennessee and begin preparations for the apocalypse, which meant buying farms where they could live off the land when society collapsed. Ruthven attempted to escape any controversy. Followers were directed to say that Ava's Aiden was shutting down and that Ruthven had gone into retirement in Scotland. Not long after arriving in Tennessee, Ruthven and her followers set up a small shelter in downtown Columbia, then added an air-conditioned mobile trailer to hold adoption events at local stores. In response, former followers and estranged family members began blogging about their experience with Ruthven. Their Facebook page called "Is There a Cult in Columbia, Tennessee?" struck a nerve. The 2 groups have feuded, mostly online. For the past few years, and through their conflict flared up at times, it went mostly unnoticed until later when Rachel Gunderson shared her story with the X-Files, a podcast produced by a group called Life After God, which led to more social media attention. Michelle Breedlove, who adopted a second kitten from Eva's Eden in early July, says she heard about some of the controversy online, but it probably wouldn't stop her from getting another kitten from them in the future. I mean, it sounds like they took care of the cats better than anyone else, so I'm sure they got good cats from them.
Well, you can't fault the cats for what... I mean, you at that point, you kind of just want to save the cat, not worry about who you're dealing with necessarily.
Mm-hmm. The group's volunteers seemed kind, she said, and the cats she adopted were well cared for. She liked that the cats lived in a foster home rather than in cages, and none of the volunteers ever mentioned any kind of religious beliefs. If there is no one being hurt and they are just being odd, that's okay. When contacted for an interview about the religious belief, shelter manager Nicole Walker said in an email that she would have to contact the FBI, the local sheriff, and their lawyer before commenting. Eva's Eden had been harassed in the past, she said, and was considering legal action against its critics. The next day, Eva's Eden pulled its Facebook page and shuttered its website. Georgia Snow, the group's treasurer, says she didn't know if the cat rescue would continue. Snow, who is also Ruthven's mother, says she was fed up with criticism of her daughter. Snow says her daughter is no longer a pastor and that her church no longer exists. All they want to do now is rescue cats. We do nothing but good, she said, and yet we have people who try to destroy that.
This was that Ruthven's mother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mary Gunderson says that the cat rescue is fine with her. The cats at Eva's Eden are well cared for, she says, and many would have been euthanized if the shelter hadn't rescued them. But being nice to cats doesn't wash away her ex-pastor's sins. You pour all of this care and love to these animals, and when they are adopted, they become a blessing to their family, Gunderson says. That doesn't erase the years and years of spiritual abuse. So that is the little story of the cat cult from Tennessee, Eva's Eden.
It's so bizarre. Like if you've ever like had or been to like a puppy mill,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I could. It's like the complete like 180 opposite of that, because it's extremely well taken care of,
Yes.
to the point where this lady, I feel like, started believing she was like the cat god,
Mm-hmm.
and then started turning that into a religious cult where people were drinking her blood.
Yeah.
That is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
The thing about this story is, yes, I mean, it's not the worst cult story I've ever heard of. Like,
No,
the
but
people, the people, of course, were coerced to think a certain way and, like, disassociate themselves from their families.
yes, that's all cult stuff. That's all cult
yeah.
mentalities.
They didn't, though, hurt any animals, which was nice. It just seemed that there was the Ruthven had something going wrong in her head.
So the whole, that, like I said, that blood thing, I'm not gonna get over. Why would you, if you are not a cult or a religious group, why are you making people taking care of cats drink your blood? Like, it's just so bizarre.
Well, they were.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I found that one recently, actually. Never heard of it
I've never
before.
heard of that one before, but that was an interesting one.
And I was like, oh, this is fun.
The cat cult.
Cat cult. I love my cat.
I don't think I'm going to drink somebody's blood
I
for
don't
my
think
cat, though.
No, I could never revere someone, so, like...
I'm a very independent person. I have my own ideas, and for the most part, I will believe my own ideas and not be convinced otherwise. So.
You tell me to do something, I'm like, no. No, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, if it's something like, hey, can you do this instead of this? Like, maybe for, like, work or whatever.
Well, that's different.
That's different. But, like, don't tell me what to believe or what to think.
Exactly.
That's where I'm like, sorry, no. I have my own opinions.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to show me how to do something, that's different.
Yeah. But
yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was a different one. Different than what we've done before.
Well, I don't think we've done any cult ones yet.
No, it was our first one.
So I have a couple that I'm going to do. Just haven't done yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to come up with, like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Because cult ones are like that. They're always going to be long because there's
a lot.
There's documentation on this as opposed to, like, a conspiracy where it's just like, this is why people believe this.
Yeah, and it's not just like here are some facts. It's like, oh, there's some testimony and there's these people that were involved.
Yes, exactly. I thought it was cute, though. It was cute. Why did I say cute?
It was cute.
I thought it was fascinating. That's probably a better word to use, but
I know. It was like like I said, I've never heard of it before until recently. And I was like, I have to look into that one.
Well, I don't remember if I've brought it up before, but there's a show, I think I have. There's a show on Netflix that does a bunch of cults, and I've never heard of half of them on that show. Every episode is about somebody who's escaped that cult.
Okay.
So Definitely something where I've like there was like every episode so far. I think I've only heard of one or two of the cults, so I'll definitely get some ideas from that show. We'll probably end up doing a future episode about Scientology. That's a huge cult, and Lisa Rumney, she did a documentary on where she interviewed a bunch of people. Oh my god, it was so good. So we'll definitely have to have some information there.
Yeah,
about that. So
that'd be fun.
But I really enjoyed that one.
Me too. I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
Oh, no, I got to go walk my goldfish. You want to help me?
I got to actually go take care of cats.
Well, we'll do both at the same time.
Yes. All right.
We'll catch you all next time.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to Conspiracy Happy Hour. Be sure to listen, follow, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Have a spooky story, conspiracy, or weird encounter that you would like to hear read in a future episode? Email your story to conspiracyhappyhour@gmail.com and follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at Conspiracy Happy Hour. This podcast is produced and edited by Geckos Media and is a part of the Geckos Media Network. Interested in starting your own podcast and not quite sure where to begin? Visit geckosmedia.com and sign up for a free one-on-one consultation. Until next time, see you!